Well, live here tonight on the American Sim Network, it is the Loose Lugnuts Racing League. I'm Matt Egan, joined by Jeff Wood, and, well, we would be streaming in 1080p if someone, might have been me, had remembered that the stream key was set to 720p and gone in to fix that, but it'll be really nice 720p here tonight as we get ready to go racing. Well, Jeff, how you doing tonight?
All right, man. I'm glad you got a new setup, new rig there. Some special things to come for ASN. Really excited about that. But tonight, Xfinity cars at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This is Charlotte Week. We'll be here tonight and on Saturday night with Sunday night being off. Back to real racing, though, in the real world there, Matt. So kind of excited.
Yeah, that is going to be awesome to see us getting back into real racing, into the real swing of things pretty soon. I can't wait to see that in just a little bit. This Sunday, real NASCAR taking back off. Right now, watching Scott Bell in qualifying, though. I tell you what, Jeff, Scott Bell, beautiful looking race car.
Yeah, look around myself, getting the old number board set up on my end. But Scott Bell, one of those guys that found us on YouTube, on Max Speed TV, or may have even been here on ASN, because, you can always shoot us some messages at Loose Lugnuts Racing Group on Facebook or the iRacing portal, and that's the best way to stay in contact. But welcome, Scott Bell.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good looking time right now, too. Third place on the speed charts. He's faster than, if you can believe it, Jeff, faster than Justin Michael. Not by much.
Give Justin Mike, not by much. Scott Bell, 2 laps down already, 30.3. Fast time I saw it there was probably closer to 32s, the lower 32s.
Michael, there you go for his second lap. And he'll be a little bit quicker that time, but, Scott Bell's still hanging on to fourth. I can't say you can't rule the new driver out. I mean, that's a lot of speed in that race car, and we have 100 laps here tonight for him to figure that speed out.
Yep, Justin Mike climbs to the top early on. We do have a capped room of 33 drivers, and I believe every one of those positions were filled this evening. Just doing that, trying to eliminate the caution length. Sometimes you have guys that just end up wrecking out, and that seems to be your before you can get going green. So trying to eliminate that process with the amount of drivers on the speedway. However, like I said, full room tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt, full room, and that should make for some very exciting racing here tonight. Kevin Winter, second on the speed charts right now. Really fast-looking number 78 machine, over the top designs. Best paint schemes on iRacing, and don't you forget it. Zach McSwain looking for good speed out of that car. Now, we saw him. He had a lot of speed last week when he made his return here.
Yeah, McSwain's doing really well, at least last Thursday. I know he's been running mainly with the Thursday run with us, and welcome back after, like I said, a great showing he had on the dirt side of things with Hunt the Front league there, while they were doing that division. I believe it was super late models. So congrats to Zach McSwain on a win and a couple high placing finishes. However, I expect him, if he can avoid the stuff tonight like any other driver, but Zach McSwain to finish top 10, if not get up towards the podium a little bit further.
Yeah, without a doubt, I wouldn't be surprised to see him even qualify well, too. I think we might see a top 5 qualifying run out of this 091 machine, and let's see what he puts down. Looking at the speed charts, how about that, 9th place? And that's only his first lap, so he's still got one more lap to figure something out here.
Yeah, he's staying off the wall in that black 091.
Really nice line, too, for that driver. So just, very smooth, nothing jerking the car around, just got that car down really nicely. He'll hold on to 9th right there as qualifying looks like it's about wrapped up. Justin Michael, of course, with the pole, and I can't say I'm surprised by that. Justin Michaels just had a fast car. Well, pretty much any time we come out to race, Justin Michael has a fast machine. So we'll get gridded up, and Jeff Wood, as always, going to bring us through our starting lineup as we give him a few more seconds to get a little bit more gridded up here. But Jeff, what do you expect to see in the opening laps?
Well, it could go one way or the other. We were here Sunday night for a 200-lap event, the Support Our Troops 200, and that ended up being a very great race, long race, with the ending being a little bit slow. However, I imagine 100-lap race, it'd be about the same way if we can get going. A good 50-lap run, 2 potential green flag pit stops if we go green to checkered, that is. So that's what I'm looking for. Let's go down this lineup, though. Justin Michael, fast time 32.43, like I said. Faster times are going to be in the lower 2s. Kevin Winter, next closest guy to him, literally a 10th off, 33.49 outside pole, Kevin Winter. Aaron Bennett will be 3rd. Dan Murray 4th. James Nunn 5th. Scott Bell 6th. John Held 7th. Wes Holland 8th. Zach McSwain 9th. Vernon Markheim podiumed here on Sunday. He'll be 10th. Kyle Chadwick starts 11th. Michael Jeans 12th. Ken Richardson 13th. Troy Torgensen podiumed 2nd place, I believe, on Sunday. He'll be starting 14th. John Alltech 15th. Wally Tierheimer 16th. Judd Danielson 17th. Calvin Miller 18th. Josh Scott 19th. And Jeff Knight, who's in the 7, but will probably be in the 997 next week. That's the last of the qualifiers. Non-qualifiers, Josh Coley 21st. Tom Ogle 22nd. Trent Drum 23rd, Joshua Robinson 24th, Jeff Gilmore 25th, Sean Dorr, Old School Motorsports there, starting 26th in that 65 machine. 27th will be Wesley Whitfield, first time I've seen him back. Jeremy Crandall 28th, Chris Voiles 29th, 30th Gene Rogers, and Kenny Heath, if he can stay connected, he hasn't had a good opportunity of that tonight, will be 31st. So about 30 drivers on the field.
Yeah, pretty decent field right there. As you can see, drivers getting ready to go racing here in just a few moments. Well, if you had to pick a driver this early in the race to win it.
That's not Justin Michael, it'd be Justin Michael, but, oh gosh, who did I see during practice? I think Aaron Bennett, I like Troy Torgensen also. He showed good stuff on Sunday. Different car, different machine, but similar settings. Let's see how they all interpret turn 4 when they're side by side. Oh, crash on the back straightaway.
Yeah, that's the 7 car. Jeffrey Knight.
That's the second time I've seen him do that since he joined the league.
I don't think he started it. Oh, he might have. He was trying to get up to speed or get up to the back of the field. But he didn't start it. Everyone else had checked up, and, well, he checked up and, well, checked right into Josh Scott.
Well, we're going to go green flag. The admin's going to have to do a lot of work here.
Yeah, they ought to call that off.
Yep. Ronald Klein does throw that yell. That's smart by the admin. That's unfortunate there for the field. They'll get stretched out.
I was about to say, if they didn't call that off, that was going to be a really huge mess and a half. Not to say it isn't already, because I think the pace car is going to let half the field by and the other half is going to stay behind the pace car. I don't know, but that's usually the MO of how this stuff goes, so it's going to be probably a mess to sort through timing and scoring anyway.
Yeah, but normally we don't, clear black flags, but in that situation,
I mean, you have to.
You kind of have to. During a race procedure, I think that's the correct call, but that just makes it difficult on the admins up in the booth, both admins that are viewing the race here tonight, along with the owner, Mr. John Hedrick, are up there giving advice to drivers and so forth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's going to distinguish about 3 to 5 laps off tonight's total count.
Possibly more. depending on how they want to figure out the timing and scoring loops, if they have to.
Yeah, if as long as they called it out before, hopefully drivers respectfully obeyed inside outside and just gave someone the nose. Otherwise, they're going to be, if obviously inside lines, probably a little bit more fortunate on starts, restarts, and getting the faster groove. If you got moved to the outside when you were starting inside, that's probably going to screw up your mindset. You're probably not going to be too happy about it.
Yeah, without a doubt. 2 out of 100 laps in, and they'll probably go green, I want to say 5 laps into this race.
Yeah, well, I mean, it gives us a little bit of time. I'm also looking over at chat here, Matt, and I see Michael Jeans, who I think is on the Speedway. Mr. Jeans had an interesting spotter there for a little bit. Hopefully we see him back on track. Maybe he tried to log in, but like I said, I capped the room. Unfortunate if we couldn't see Mr. Sadler out there tonight. Mr. Holland, too. It is interesting, no doubt. I don't think we've seen a race start that way in a long time. Even though I think at Talladega, Matt, we had the same sort of incident happen. However, 2.66 mile speedway versus mile and a half.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you know what? I always go back to this whenever we have a race start with a caution like this. One of the best races in NASCAR history, first ever televised race too, started under caution, ran the first 15 laps under yellow for that matter. So this starting under caution, maybe not a bad thing. Maybe it means we'll have a very exciting and action-filled race. Could be a possibility.
Well, I agree, but it also depends on our drivers, how well they want to play in that, sandbox of a simulator that they're running. They got to play nice with one another, and they got to give room and all those other so forth things.
Yeah, without a doubt there, and we'll find out how it all plays out here in just a few laps. Lights still on the pace car. Drivers, I know they're eager to get racing here. They were not anticipating on what happened. They were ready to go green, and well, now they just have to wait a few more laps. I'm sure Kevin Winter on that outside lane, he's just thinking, let me race, because he might have something for Justin Michael. He's got a fast car. Winter always has had a fast race car, and I think if anyone can challenge Justin Michael, Kevin Winter might just be that guy.
Yeah, Kevin Winter was a good top 5 machine on Sunday here at Charlotte. Unfortunately, I believe he received some damage getting into the pits or during one of the pit cycles. That ended his night for the 78 Budweiser team, now with the over-the-top designs. Look your best, look over the top. Mr. Holland, yeah, I would agree. Montoya minus the jet dryer, that was a weird incident during a caution for sure. Probably the weirdest incident of all, and I would say potential to be one of the worst things for that speedway, and speaking of the racing surface too.
Yeah, well, I don't know how bad it's going to affect the racing surface. You're going to have that strip of, I guess, laid down rubber from where he locked up his tires, but you're not going into a corner. You're going straight down the backstretch, so it's not like it's going to, screw up the corner when you think about it that way. So I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue on the racing surface.
Nah. Obviously, we're not simulating jet dryers over here on the iRacing surface. Pace car lights are out.
Yeah. Oh, if you're talking about that, yeah, no, that definitely didn't.
No, I mean not too much
make
rubber.
things happy.
And I'm single file restart for whatever purpose. This might be
throwing it back.
Yeah, that's just an iRacing thing, or they
well,
were doing that.
Now they're doubling up.
I don't know. They can do it. I think iRacing is saying single file, and a couple of them are just being smart about the double file technique.
Well, I mean, hey, throwback to what, 2000 up to 2006, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, they can't throw another caution here because that would just delay our race even further. But
I
let's
mean,
get
they
her
could.
ribbon.
If they want,
Well,
they could extend this by 1 lap and get that sorted, but they elect not to.
Now, let's just get her going. Justin Michael will probably wait to the box.
And they'll go single file restart. Justin Michael, he won't wait till the box. They'll go 1 more lap.
That's weird. I'm still seeing yellow out there.
Okay, here's the thing. I want to say this. I don't know if that was admin thrown or not, but if it was,
No.
they should have done that.
Not quite sure. Matt, you're gonna have to take it away. I'm gonna go down and talk to the admin real quick.
You know what? We're gonna take it to a quick caution camp.
Yep.
There's
Right
not.
back.
I hate to say it. There's not much to talk about here, but we'll be right back. Well, we get to try it again, maybe? Getting ready to go green here. At least it looks that way. There'll be single file, everyone on the lead lap still. Pace car goes down. Do they actually go green? Yes, they do.
Yeah, I'm seeing the green flag, Matt. I was talking with the head admin of the league, and he's out there doing his best, trying to give him what iRacing throws his way. Everyone back on the lead lap getting some unusual wave rounds. Back to that green flag race, lap number 8 here tonight. So about 8 laps, minus off full count.
I'm telling you, shades of 1979. We're throwing it back here, Jeff.
Yeah, we'll see how, that adds to the frustration or anticipation level of our drivers. Obviously, those front 3 breaking away pretty early out here. A lot of single file action. A lot of guys not able to get that 2x2 run on the top side. Top side, fresh tires, probably a good thing.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, everyone's single file, so here's the question. How long do you think it's going to take for them to double up and start racing hard again?
We'll give it. We'll see who can save those tires. 2 guys, well, maybe even 3 guys. 2 guys I know that like to save tires and do it well are out front right now. The 87 and 78 right there. Kevin Winter looking for pass.
Yeah, Winter trying to go for the race lead right now, down into turns 3 and 4. New race leader right there. Kevin Winter's got it.
Yeah, we'll see how long it does. I did mention that the 87 was good on saving tires. Aaron Bennett in that 945 right behind Justin Michael is a teammate, so maybe on the same pace, or Aaron Bennett wants to go a little bit faster. He is showing the nose to the inside more than what the 87 is doing.
And Bennett's got a pretty good looking race car. Of course, we're only 11 laps into this race and barely into green flag racing. So I think it might be a little too early to call for these drivers, you know?
Yep, looks like John Held, and I believe that's the Tide Machine. Speaking of Darlington coming up, Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch, throwback every time we think of Darlington, but John Held, 980 Tide, making the pass on the 951.
Yeah, he's trying to do what he can.
Yep, caution is out.
Caution flag back out, I would assume this time for a legitimate crash, hopefully. Yep, Calvin Miller.
Wally Tierheimer takes around the 977 short, and it a little bit big contact though.
Jeremy Brandel.
Yeah, that was a big hit. Just unfortunate contact. Wally Tierheimer, probably the aggressor in that situation, Matt, taking someone around in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, and it's a little way too early into this race for these guys to have that happen. I mean, Tierheimer should have been a little bit more calm. We're going to take it to a quick caution cam, and actually we're going to have the stream off for about 2 seconds, just while I get something sorted on the stream settings real quick. One lap to go till we hit the green flag. I almost called you Jacob there. Jeff Wood calling the green.
Yeah, Jacob's a great guy, man. He works with you every day of the week, so I get the confusion. I like tuning in, listening to you and Jacob banter back and forth. Sure, every week on ASN, I know Matt doesn't do much self-promotion, but guys, if you can go find the American Sim Network on Facebook, give them a like too. I would appreciate it. I think Matt would too.
So, I don't know how to follow that up.
Nah, it's fine.
But we have a stacked field here tonight. I think that's where I want to go with this because, I mean, you saw Justin Michael, really fast car. You saw Kevin Winter, fast car. We saw Aaron Barrett, Bennett. I'm a broadcaster. I can talk. Come on now. We saw Bennett. He had a great car, and he was starting to get himself into the fray. And look, we got some new leaders. Granted, they both haven't pitted yet, so this might get a little interesting here.
I agree. Could be a little bit difficult. Green flag out at leader's discretion. There goes 970, former American karting champion Dan Murray.
Yeah, Murray got a great restart there as we go down and away into turns 1 and 2. I'm not too surprised by that for Dan Murray. I mean, he's always a fast driver, and we got one down on the apron.
Yeah, that was that? That looked like John Altec.
I think you were right.
This is also the first time they've started door-to-door with one another, despite our weird start and restart to the beginning of this race. The first time they're seeing door contact going into turn number 1 at 75% speed.
Yeah, they worked it pretty well, though.
And Dan Murray with that great restart is going to help him. Looks like, who is that? James Dunn out there in a way, at least the 78, 945, and the 87 are laid back a little bit, letting those tire difference make key standing here. But Kevin Winters and James Dunn are going right at it.
That's not surprising to me to see James Dunn battling for the race lead. He's got a great race car under him. And again, granted, we're really early into this race, though, so I think that's going to make a bit of a factor here, and that might be a bit of an issue for him. I don't want to see him, pull out all his cards so early on, because you figure we still got, 80 laps to go. And a lot can still happen in 80 laps, 83 laps more, to be more precise.
Yep, James Dunn looking for the lead. I don't imagine he'll keep it for more than a lap with Kevin Winter on his bottom side right there. But James Dunn, I believe, is a Marine Corps veteran, looking for the lead out of turns number 3 and 4, trying to lead lap 19 around the speedway.
Yeah, and it is side by side to the stripe here. Look at Gilmore passing the grass here. Shades of Dale Earnhardt. He kept it running, but oh man, does that not end well.
Probably should have kept her on the apron.
Well, Dale Earnhardt didn't do that. He had a little help, though. Wesley Holland gave him the bump. Up until the contact with McSwain, that was going really nice for him.
Yeah, it looks like Justin Michaels slow out of the corner. Gilmore checks up. Wes Holland gives him the bump. And there we go. Gilmore should, I don't know, maybe came up a little bit further. There's not really a bottom portion of the track right there through that tricky tri-oval. The round goes for the 57, I think, 091. No, Mr. Murray, we did not wreck on green. There was a wreck before the green, so we threw the caution.
Brendan Murray watching from the sidelines this week. Hope you're doing well out there. Thank you for tuning in.
It's time for an interview.
I think you're right.
I want to bring up, Kevin Winter, because he always disappears.
Yeah, well, maybe this time we'll get him before he does.
Yeah, we'll bring up Kevin Winter, who's looking really strong in that 78 early on. Almost had himself. I'm going to let him go for the pits because I thought I was live, but I'm not. Kevin, we'll get to you as soon as you're done with your pits.
Now, I want to say Kevin Winter's car, and this is going to sound completely out of left field, I'm getting vibes to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car from the old Budweiser car. And I don't know why I'm saying that, because it looks nothing like Jr.'s old Budweiser car. I mean, about the only similarity is the fact that it's red. It's got nowhere near the same design, but I don't know why. Something about it just brings me back to that car.
Couple guys missed their pick box. James Nunn, one of them.
I think Chadwick might have taken 2 tires. He's out and away in 3rd.
Yep. Now going to bring up the 78, Matt, because that was my bad, Kevin Winter. Sorry for that. At least allowed you to pit without someone in your ear.
Nah, you guys are good.
All right, yeah. A couple guys looks like they've blown their box. Chadwick may have taken a 2-tire stop. I'm not really sure, but you're looking at the lead or in the lead. I was going to say you did really well on Sunday until I think there was some damage on your nose during a pit cycle. But Sunday beside ourselves right now. The 78 looks strong. You're keeping the 87 in the mirror, which is a positive. What are you looking to do with the, tire differences and guys staying out, whatever the call may be for those cars in front of you?
Well, I can tell you right now, the 87 is bad fast here. You showed that last week on Sunday. So right now it's just his long run speed's really good. Ours isn't as good. With this new tire model, we're still trying to figure some stuff out. But it's just trying to log some laps and you get some feedback on the tires and see what we got to do to try to keep him behind us. But I mean, if he forces the issue, we'll probably just let him go and try to follow him and see if we can learn a few things.
That's probably the weirdest start to the race we've had a long time here at Loose Lugnuts Racing, and especially with the restart that never materialized either. Single file, and then you go into this like restart. The first time you're door to door, was that more nerve-wracking than a potential start to the race, but the first time someone side by side with you?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, it was a pretty hectic restart. Just a whole lot of stuff just didn't work out very well. But that last restart, I don't know if it was 57 or not, but he just not get going. I think he just spun the tires a little bit, and we kind of had to dart out of line there and just try to stop him hitting them. But I think it turned out all right. And just like I said, just looking to get a green flag run here to get racing and just try to get this smooth out a little bit.
Now, tell me, since you got a lot of time on a lot of tracks, Kevin, starting outside on a restart or start with old tires here, speaking of old tires, is it like Atlanta? Are you looking at a slick track, or is it just old tires in general?
It's not like Atlanta that much. We are at the night, so we do got a little bit more grip. But these cars, the way they're set up, they're tight, and they do want to spin the tires a little bit at the high end. So it's right now it's unpredictable. Once we get a few restarts under our belts and start to feel these cars out a little better, we'll have a better understanding what to expect on the road.
All right, Kevin, thanks for that long interview, buddy. Getting us up here, doubling up now. Let's see how you do well with the rest of the night. Maybe talk to you later if you stick around.
10-4, next up.
Oh, Matt, a couple people out in the track. Yeah, Mr. Murray, Arca brake was for real during the initial go-around of the track. Flyboy out there, Miss Tierheimer. I think Wally just got off the track, but geez, he had a little bit of uh-oh on the first part of this race, ending the 75's night early. Hopefully, Miss Tierheimer, you had a great Mother's Day this past Sunday.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting on this restart. I think, like I said, I think Chadwick took 2 tires, so I think it'll be interesting to see just how that plays out. Although we saw 2 drivers not pit the last caution, so, you know, maybe 2 tires ain't too bad of a situation to be in.
Yeah, 2-tire Chadwick. James Dunn blew his pit stall and decided to stay out. We'll see how well this does. Kevin Winter with the same problem he had on the last restart.
Here we go, folks. Pace car down. James Nunn bringing us to the green. There it is. And we're racing again.
Yep, good start for our leader. Wants to get at least 1 or 2 laps. I think we haven't seen James Dunn out in the lead, leading a green flag lap in about 5 races. So good on that 951. 78, good restart. He's going to hunt him down pretty quick here.
Yeah, it's been a little while. We're wrecking again.
Boy. Yep, caution's going to come out.
Oh, it's big too. Oh my word.
I did see maybe the 85 involved.
I mean, you could name probably about half the field and they were involved. Whoever was in that Procore car got loose, and it was off to the races from there.
Yeah, that'd be Vernon Margheim.
Gene Rogers got a piece of that one.
Yep, and then the 987.
Jeremy Crandell in it again.
Yep. 987 involved, 927 with the bump to the 987 of Troy Turgensen.
Dan Murray gets a piece of it. Sean Doerr's car absolutely destroyed, unfortunately.
Yeah, that stinks for Sean Doerr. He's a good racer. I like seeing him out here.
Yeah, you know, on and off again driver, but I mean, man, when he comes out, usually he has a good run. And unfortunately tonight, just not going to be a good night for that driver. Neither is it going to be for that 933 John Altec. We haven't seen him run in a while, but, you know, unfortunately, that's not going to end well for him. We're 26 laps into this race. I think already that's about half the field just destroyed.
Yep.
And I hate to
Ominous.
say that.
Yeah, it was an ominous start, and I think that's where we can look at it. If you have a caution before the race starts, essentially, you gotta get
Not a good night.
yeah, not a good night.
Well, we'll be
Yeah.
right back on ASN. We'll take you to a quick caution cam. Back live here, and last week we ran a very big race. We ran a 200 mile long race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Cup Series, and I think something pretty impressive happened as a prize for winning that race, and Jeff Wood will tell us more about it.
Yeah, I mean, as always, like I tell fans and drivers alike, the best way to stay close to the information on the Loose Lugnuts is to go join the Facebook page, Loose Lugnuts Racing Group there, and you can find a particular picture of a trophy that one of our admins freely handed out to the winner, Justin Michael, of Sunday's race for the Support the Troops 200. We sure do like to honor our service members, past and present, at Loose Lugnuts, but that trophy from the pocket of an admin to a driver here. So congrats on Justin Michael, and thanks to Jeff Merck for that spectacular looking trophy.
And can you still hear me, Jeff?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Everyone on iRacing blinked for me, so that's fun.
All right, well, I mean, Matt, we're going to get right back at it. Really shaping down the field pretty quickly. A lot of drivers off the field. I think only 16 on the lead lap, plus or minus a couple, 1 lap to 2 laps down. Off goes that pace car. Matt's going to work on his connection issues as those storms are probably heading towards his area this evening. There goes James Dunn, green flag.
A good restart with James Nunn, but I tell you what, Kevin Winters right behind him. Oh, man,
Oh.
Kevin Winter gives him the bumper.
But Kevin Winter laid
Oh,
off.
James Nunn.
That's no way to retaliate.
And that's going to take out the front half of the field.
Kevin Winter laid off, too. He
Okay.
didn't mean...
Two wrongs don't make a right there, and James Nunn broke rule number 1 of stock car racing. He doesn't know how to wreck someone without wrecking himself, because guess what? Kevin Winter's still racing, and he blew his engine. So, James Nunn, if you're watching this, if you're going to do that, learn how to do it properly, or don't do it at all, which probably is the better option. We're 30 laps into this race. We don't need to be having this.
No, that's going to earn a penalty for sure for the 951. That was clear retaliation, and Kevin Winter knew he did wrong and backed off. Now, Kevin Winter is probably an aggressive driver, but has been running really well as of late, and he did back off. He gave the position back speed-wise on the inside.
He let him gather the race car. Now, I mean, we can sit here and contest whether or not that was an intentional nudge. I mean, I'm going to kind of say, yeah, probably was, just because Kevin Winter is an aggressive driver. But he did concede the spot. He let him gather the car back up. There wasn't a need for that retaliation, or at least not in that way. If you want to get back at him, give him a little bit of a shunt. Don't do what he did there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, do the same thing, but in a clear way. Like, hey, I'm going to bump you going in the next corner, get you angled the wrong way, let you recover it.
Yeah, don't drive up the side of him and just try to put him clear into the wall.
Especially at the front. Boy.
No. Yeah, that took out, what, 2 other cars that weren't even a factor in that?
Yep, Chadwick was involved. He's ticked off a lot of other drivers. So. Yeah, I mean, Flyboy out there, yeah, I would agree. Quite truthfully, not good racing from those particular drivers tonight. And,
I mean, look at this, Jeff. We got, what? I count, 8 cars on the track right now?
14 on the lead lap. And we haven't had a green flag session longer than 8 laps. Like I said, it's up to the drivers personally to make it a race. We accept new drivers every Sunday. There's difficulties every week learning new people, new grooves, how to operate around one another. At the same time, you got to give space. 78 of Kevin Winter did a wrong, but like you said, Matt, and quite agreeably, 2 wrongs do not make a right.
And, here's the thing. And, yeah, some of these incidents tonight have been from the new drivers, and there's no denying that. And that's natural. New drivers, when they're racing around, these guys are going to have to figure out how to do it. And there's going to be some mistakes because differences in speeds and whatnot. And that's what a development series is. This is a driver development summer recruitment series after all. That, it is what it is. But some of these other incidents tonight have been from these veteran drivers. Not a lot of them, but there have been a few. And I'm not talking about this one here because we've discussed this one. I'm talking about previous ones. And in the previous weeks as well. And to me, there's not an excuse for that because these guys know how to race around each other. Some of them have been doing it for, more seasons than we can count. And some of them have been around as long as this league has been around. So they should know how to race around each other. And that's where the problem is.
Quite agree, Matt. We'll see how the slow start to this first half
affects the second. I don't mean to go off on an unhinged rant there because, don't get me wrong. I love this league. I love broadcasting and everything about it. But when we see racing like this,
that's upsetting to even us broadcasters. I'm an admin and a broadcaster in this league, and that's upsetting for me to see. And James Nunn knows better. Hopefully, he realized what he did, and he can take it the penalty that I'm sure he should receive coming forth. And but I don't know what else to say. The only thing I can say is thank you, fans, for listening to us. How about we revert this into a real-world situation, Matt? How are our drivers in the real world going to take to one another after iRacing and all those beating and bangings they've done on iRacing going into Darlington?
Well, I think the big difference between that is iRacing in the real world is two things for those drivers, and much like it is
hurts
here.
to crash.
Well, A, yeah, it hurts to crash, and B, when they crash, they don't have that reset button, and someone's paying for that, $250,000 minimum stock car that's now just been junked. So I think that's going to be the big factor.
Yep, Darlington, is a one-lane track on iRacing and in the real life. You can do more in real life with setups to a fixed league of iRacing, but it's going to be there's a lot of people with animosity on iRacing going to the real world now, and I'm quite intrigued from that point of view of a broadcaster here on iRacing
I think it'll go away.
I hope it does, and I hope this does tonight too.
I think it'll go away only for the fact that, like I said, when they wreck each other intentionally on iRacing, it costs them nothing. When they wreck each other intentionally in real life, it costs them a little bit of cash.
We've seen Kyle Busch get the old angry hands during some trucks and Xfinity races too. But
Kyle Busch versus Ron Hornaday in 2011.
Boy, that is right on the top of the mind, Matt. Back to green flag racing we're going to be.
Hopefully it'll stay this way.
Yeah, not too many cars on the track.
Yeah, I'm about to say, if they have another big wreck, we're going to finish this race with, 3 cars?
Yeah, that's true. They're back to green flag racing. We've got an off week technically coming up next week, guys, so we will not be live here on ASN for next Thursday's race. 2 weeks will be at Kansas Motor Speedway. Rick Drum to the bottom, but just drivers, if you're listening, stay tuned for those fun races coming up next week and a special event race, full race length at Talladega with Josh Medlock on MaxV TV.
And we got, 12 drivers, or 13 on the lead lap right now, but I tell you what, we still got a pretty good battle for the race lead. Looks like Scott Bell's got it. I told you Scott Bell might be a factor in this race. This isn't quite what I had in mind when I said Scott Bell might be a factor in this race, but nevertheless.
Well, congrats to Scott Bell and getting up there. And, my boss would probably kill me if we didn't have the next interview, being who, Matt, looking down there in TeamSpeak. So I'm going to have to eventually grab him up here one day. He's here on ASN on Thursdays, and basically it would be a thank you interview if we talk to Elliott Sadler. But we'll see coming up. I know he's semi-spotting there for Mr. Jeans.
I've had the privilege of talking to Brennan Poole on, Saturday night a few weeks ago. And I'd love to get a chance, like you said, to talk to Mr. Sadler there. And it's awesome to have him racing in this league. It's awesome to have had Brendan Poole racing in our Saturday night league. If you watch ASN, if you want to watch that race, you go back, look at the Talladega race. It's on our Facebook page. And by the way, if you watch ASN and you watch it on Thursday nights, and you wonder where our other nights are, and we only broadcast on YouTube right now on Thursday nights, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/ASN iRacing, and you'll find us live Monday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that fills you in the rest of the week for your American Sim Network action. So don't think we only broadcast one night a week, because we certainly do not. You just got to know where to find us. So if you like what you see here tonight, go check us out on Facebook. You can see Sim 500 and a super late model series, or limited late model series. I always get that confused. The Friday night short track series. And this week, I don't know where we're at because I did not look at the schedule, but we'll be at a fun track tomorrow night, I am sure.
Yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, just go check them out on Facebook, guys. Going to be dual casting to YouTube and Facebook in the near future, as long as things hold up with that new rig of Matt's. Justin Michael out to a comfortable lead. Scott Bell second. Love to hear his interview. Like I said, one of those guys that found us on the YouTube great medium of finding new drivers for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, well, hey, the new rig, it is holding up really well. So hopefully dual casting again in the future. We were doing it for a little while earlier in the season. Not Lugnuts, but with other stuff. And then the old computer kind of basically just set fire to itself. You know how that goes. But, yeah, Justin and Michael having a great run here tonight.
Yep, Colin out there saying Justin Michael greater than Michael Jordan. I agree, it's blasphemy, but if you're speaking of racing inside of loose lug nuts, Justin Michael is, of late, is king. I'm not going to give him the title yet because that belongs to Wes Holland.
Well, how many wins does Holland have?
100 something.
Michael's got a little bit of a ways to go.
Yeah, we're only counting so many nowadays, but back in our early NASCAR days, our short track days, just how NASCAR developed, we counted a lot, did a lot of racing, did a lot of seasons. So that's where Wes's numbers come from. But Wes does have probably 30 to 40 wins on 1.5 to 2 mile speedways.
Yeah, you know, I got to agree with Colin, though, and you know why, Jeff? Because we've never seen Michael Jordan race. Think about it.
Well, we've never seen Justin Michael golf or play basketball either.
That is true. But
Justin
statistically, he is better because Michael Jordan's never raced.
Yeah, well, I think if we're talking about a 70-plus win season in 82 games or races, I think Justin Michael would be up to par right now, Michael Jordan style, LeBron James style, how many wins they could put down. Maybe take that greater or less than equal sign to an equal sign. 114 is Mr. Holland. Officially 113, but 114 if you want to count the summer, which we're not counting on Dan Elisa. Dan Elisa holds our official record right now.
Yeah, right now, and it is everyone getting spread out. So, you know what? That might not be a bad thing because that might mean we get to stay green for a while, albeit only 13 drivers on the lead lap. And you notice one thing here, Jacob. Everyone's car, for the most part, has got... you're right. Sorry. Look, I broadcast it with every night except this one. Forgive me. But, you know, you notice one thing. Everyone's car, except for, say, the front guys, they got war wounds. Look at John Held. He's got no front end. Looks like he's running a modified car. He's out there in 11th place fighting for the top 10.
Well, this is what we want to see. I know drivers, God, what a bad night to put that out there because we've had too many things to count, too many weird, abnormal things. But John Held, guy sticking in there, wanting to put laps down against competitors. That's what we're looking for going into our next winter season for the Cup side of things and maybe other divisions, Saturday and Thursday nights. We will be limiting the fields to a particular number of drivers and a certain, driver. You will have to not qualify, but be registered for that division. Just trying to create better racing and make sure that that's the night you attend, and also make sure people like Justin Michael don't take away 3 championships there.
Yeah.
On all 3 divisions.
Well, you know what might be a solution there? Just have him run for points in the one night.
I don't know. That could be, make it an overall division winner.
Yeah.
I get it. That could be something. 87. Right now, nothing's set in stone. This is all future talk. Then we'll talk with Chad about. And again, thank you, Chad, for showing up.
Yeah, because I like the idea of these guys being to, run whatever they want to run. But, go to, like, the NASCAR format. Not say now where they can only run, say, 5 races. Cup driver run 5 Xfinity races, what have you. But have it so that they have to declare points for a certain series.
Sure.
That
might be a look at it for the future. We're trying to develop the point style. And obviously, you look at Thursday, we don't have any points going forth. But Saturday, we got some weird things going on with the K&N, trying to adjust points versus drivers and see the attending ratio, limit amount of drivers, And Justin Michael continues to take laps around the speedway at his ease with Scott Bell and Aaron Bennett following behind.
50 to go at the stripe. Well, hey, the way I see it, I run as a part-time driver, so I don't have too big of an opinion. I just want to be able to keep doing that because I have fun. I see a certain track or something like that where I think I might have, a halfway decent shot of being semi-competitive. I like to just come out and run laps, you know what I mean?
Yep, and that's what we went off with the Lugnuts. So I think just looking at the Cup side of things would be the limiting schedule versus, the other two sides will be free and open for any driver inside of Loose Lugnuts Racing.
Right. My one suggestion there, let me run the super speedway races on that Cup because I do good.
Well, Matt Egan, I think we might make an exception for our broadcasters. You and Medlock and D'Amico and Rudy Cummings, who have, been supportive of Loose Lugnuts Racing. I think we can make a spot for the 057 and those other drivers.
I would love to race against D'Amico. That would be fun.
Yep, that would be a 1-2 tandem I would certainly be involved in seeing.
I don't think I've ever raced against him, but I mean, that would be fun. There's an idea. All broadcasters race.
Well, that would actually be a lot of guys in Loose Lugnuts history, but D'Amico is the only one with an official win inside of Loose Lugnuts history. That 62 machine with a super late model win back in season number 3 of Loose Lugnuts history. Justin Michael continues to lead laps. Not much has changed in the top 12, all within 10 seconds of one another.
Josh Cully just picked up 4th place, though.
Yep, Josh Cullen, that 913. Every time I see the 913, he shows improvement on the speedway. I'm glad he missed the wrecks here tonight. He has a couple podiums to his name already in the summer season throughout the divisions. Thursday being the trucks at Xfinity, Saturday being the the Arca Menards cars, and then Sunday being the Cup cars. So he scored a couple top 3s already.
Yeah, and, I want to talk about Cully. You talk about going on improvement. You go back to Atlanta, he was, I don't want to say middle-of-the-road driver, but you know what I mean. And I go back to Atlanta, it sticks into my mind because he had quite a few fans out there watching, and, I mean, look where he is now, top 5 driver. Again, partially due in part to the fact that we did have a lot of wrecks, but look at the guys he's raced around. You still have Holland in this race. You still have Chadwick. You still have all these really, really fast guys. I mean, he's outrunning Ken Richardson right now, and it's pretty impressive to see.
Yeah, it is, and if you're joining in the chat, guys, just try to be positive. There's not going to be, too many negative races. This is an unfortunate race. We're sorry for that. Like I said, it's all up to the drivers sometimes, and we did everything as admin to control the racing surface or the race itself. Drivers just did their own things in their own time, and that's where we sit right now.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, granted, it's not as good as if we had a full field still left on the track, but we don't have bad racing per se. I mean, you got John Held, Calvin, or Michael Jeans. Jeans, unfortunately, a lap down, but I mean, we still got some pretty interesting racing going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the greatest race in history, but, people figured out they couldn't do certain stuff on the track, and then people did certain stuff on the track. You can only control it so far. It's going to happen to every league at certain spots, and we're not professionals out here for sure. We're all trying to develop one another and whatnot, and the negativities, we get it. Tonight especially, it's one of those things, and we're talking about different stuff. Maybe not focusing a lot of racing, but it is what it is. I mean, come out here, enjoy the show, and if not, thank you for viewing. Maybe hit that thumbs up, subscribe. Like I said, subscribe to Matt Egan, especially here on ASN on YouTube, and follow him.
Wesley Holland.
Yep, Wesley
down the
Holland
pits.
to the pits.
Not to cut off my own channel plug, but
I was trying to plug you.
but I mean, Holland's pitted. That's pretty not impressive because I mean you got to pit, but this might be the final pit stop. 40 laps to go.
I think Holland needs a little bit of nose repair, and there's a second car in there that might be the 970. I could be wrong.
Yes, it is. That is Dan Murray. So Murray gonna try and have a good pit stop here. I guess that's the hope. Always the hope is to have a good pit stop. Loving Wesley Holland's scheme, Kevin Harvick style race car.
Well, like I say to drivers, we try to zoom out a lot, even as broadcasters, and Matt and D'Amico have that option to follow a race car or race group around the speedway from a zoomed out angle. If you want us to say your name right the first time, don't change up your paint scheme every week.
Or if you do change it up, at least tell us what it's going to be a week in advance.
Yeah, we kind of remember certain things for certain drivers. Like if you follow the leader, Justin Michael, around the speedway, Matt, 511 Tactical is always on the hood of that 87, unless we come up to a special event race that requires, maybe support the troops or a throwback scheme to NASCAR.
I don't think I've ever seen him in a different race car. Again, outside of those special events you mentioned.
Yeah, Darlington is the only time I think we've ever seen the 87 or our Halloween bash and Turkey Bash races. Well, I think that might
Enough
reserve
of that,
you.
then.
Yeah, I think that might find you the end of the line.
I'm just saying, I'm free speech and all, but hey, we got kids watching, potentially.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. Some people just hold a little bit of animosity. That's fine. I wish those guys well on Friday nights for sure.
Ronald Klein saying Scott Bell looks impressive. Well, yeah, he does. And you know what, Ron?
He's
I had
hunting down the leader.
I talked about him during our I wanted to say pace lap there, and I meant to say, and qualifying is the word I'm looking for.
Pacing/qualifying.
Yep.
Our pre-official green flag.
Yeah, I remember I said in qualifying we were talking about, we said he was a new driver. I said he might have something for Justin Michael here tonight, and lo and behold, Jeff, look where we're looking right now.
Well, those Scots are doing really well here. On the long run, Scott Patton usually in the 921. Not here tonight, but Scott Bell, the 994, new name on the track this evening.
Yeah, he's right there too. I mean, you got what, about car length, not even between those two race cars. I want to take away from that for a second and bring up Josh Cully again, because guess who he just passed? He passed Aaron Bennett, and we've seen Bennett the last 2 weeks, Jeff. He has been a fast driver, but I tell you what, Cully's got something. I think Cully might have something here tonight if they get another, and dare I say it, another caution and bunch back up. I think Cully might have something.
Yep, Coley could definitely do. I did mention that he has gotten a lot of podium finishes in different divisions. So track maybe oriented. Maybe he's more suited to the mile-and-a-half tracks than the mile or less than mile speedways that we have been running in other divisions. Trying to mix it up a lot during the summer series without nailing down tracks to the winter side of things, which is our official points side. Josh Coley looking good, looking like one of those guys that maybe you want to bring on board for the full-time season.
Yeah, without a doubt. And of course, Scott Bell as well.
Yep, first race with Scott Bell looking good. Want to see more races, obviously, with the 994 here in the summer season across any division that he wants to run. Obviously, we ask drivers to sometimes dedicate at least one night of Lugnuts racing to your schedule. Here goes Scott Bell into the pits.
Yeah, not too surprised to see Bell coming down right now. Although Justin Michael stays out a lap longer, you know.
Yeah, I think Justin Michael obviously has a better situation on leading this race. with the clean air and how he wants to pit. But obviously, Scott Bell trying to force the pit stop on the 87.
So 69 out of 100 laps in. Justin Michael in. Josh Cully in. He locked it up coming in, but hey, it don't matter. He's getting 4 fresh tires. Ken Richardson in as well. John Held. He's going to hold out. Can he lead this lap with the... I was so hoping he would lead that lap. Oh, he does. I thought Bennett was on the lead lap. Okay, no, John Held leads that lap. That makes me happy because you know what? Modified car. Not really a modified, but I mean, hey, it's cool to see a car without a front nose lead a lap. How often do we see that?
No, and like I said, I like John Held. He's a good passer. He has good technique on the speedway. Obviously, looking to put more time down here in Lugnuts. So I do appreciate that from that 980 of John Held. In that tide scheme, I'm sure he's alluding to the Darlington race coming up this week on the 17th, this Sunday, for NASCAR.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And if you guys have not been following the news, which, I mean, I want to know what rock you're living under to have not been following that news, especially if you're a racing fan, NASCAR is back this weekend, Darlington Raceway. And it will be hopefully great. And I tell you what, my favorite driver, Matt DiBenedetto, rolling off P3. Come on, first win, maybe.
Matt DiBenedetto definitely deserves a win. I think we might have to get back to Bristol or a similar track with higher banking to where he feels more comfortable. I'm more interested in the rumor that Chicagoland and our owner, John Hedrick, that being his home NASCAR track, being off the speedway as John Held continues to lead. Different pit cycle going on. Obviously, guys stayed out.
And Bell's your new leader, actually.
Yeah, Scott Bell, excuse me. So that's an interesting pit cycle. Justin Michael, very good on those pit stops. Maybe is Scott Bell better? I would love to know the history of Scott Bell and where he comes from.
Well, we can kind of try and piece it together because guess what? He's got a 2,500 I rating, but not higher than Michael. Michael's at about 4K. They're going to be side by side for the lead. Michael takes it back. But I think Scott Bell might be trying to win this one on strategy, not necessarily on raw speed.
Yeah, this is going to come down to tire conservation. We're beyond the fuel strategy, unfortunately, with the minimal amount of cars we have on the speedway. I don't anticipate a caution, but however, it does seem to come out a lot of times with 10 or less laps to go.
Yeah, and you bring up Chicagoland a moment ago. Let's talk about that real quick. They're redeveloping, from what I've gathered, because I've tried to read about it too, because I love Chicagoland, one of my favorite racetracks, because just how unique it is. Because fun fact, the entire track is cornered. There is no straightaway except the pit lane. The backstretch even has a bit of a curve to it. But the land around the track is slated to potentially be redeveloped, but from what I've read, the speedway itself, the actual physical racetrack, will not be affected, is what they have said.
That's fine. I'm just saying on a NASCAR circuit style. We're off of Milwaukee, and I know we have to, as NASCAR fans, redevelop our situations, and I talked about this with a few of the racers tonight. We're going to have to look at running strictly East Coast tracks and moving to West Coast tracks. That, as long as the COVID-19 is still there, there's no way to get fans in those seats. We definitely have to continue the sport, because as much fun as I like seeing these guys on iRacing, it's really not the same thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. iRacing is awesome, but I can't wait to see them back to real life racing.
No, I agree. Miss Michelle Eisenhower out there on TeamSpeak. She's driving. She mentioned driving a rock truck earlier. What are you doing, Miss Michelle? Earning money. Hopefully, that's the case. That's what she.
I do want to say, though, one thing. You mentioned Matt DiBenedetto. needing to have a bank track to have a better chance of winning. I want to point out he finished second at Las Vegas, and
That's really banked in the corners.
not that bad.
That straightaway is a 1.5 mile tri-oval and a 1 mile speedway.
I'm just saying, I don't think he finished outside the top 10 in the races we've ran this year.
Matt Egan defending Matt DiBenedetto's honor. I hope DiBenedetto gets equally greater rides in the future, and hopefully he can do something with lesser rides to prove his worth.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call Wood Brothers the lesser ride. I think he's, you know, especially with that being Penske now, I think he's found a good home at that race team.
I just want to see him do well. That's for sure. Justin Michael still leads us. Scott Bell second. Aaron Bennett third. Top 5 continuing. Josh Coley, he's 2 seconds off third place. Dan Murray, former karting champ, 970, about 5 seconds off of third place himself.
You know what, one driver I want to see get a good ride now, and I've kind of been an on and off fan of, but really the iRacing thing really opened my eyes up to how good of a driver he really is. Timmy Hill. You know, I think if he got in the right equipment, he might have a chance at winning the race.
Yep, I mean, well, a lot of us had our different picks for that 42 team. Who did you think out there, if you can say in chat, was going to get it besides Matt Kenseth? Matt Kenseth is not a bad pick. Former champion, can bring the sponsors along for Chip Ganassi Racing. I thought Carl Edwards myself. I believe that rumor because he's also good about getting sponsors. Not a bad pick in Matt Kenseth, but a lot of people thought Ross Chastain with the 16 was going to get the nod. And I don't know. It's one of those things. I still think it's a good pick, no matter which way you look at it. I don't agree, however, though, with him getting a possible nod to a championship season.
I think that, okay, I want to say 2 things on that. One, I think he should get the championship waiver because here's the thing. If Newman's getting the waiver for missing the races, yeah, it's because of an injury, he still missed the races, I think that's acceptable. Kenseth, it's an unforeseen circumstance, and realistically, they only ran a handful of races. I mean, if they had gone half the season and this happens, then yeah, I agree. He doesn't get the waiver. If this happened in Michigan in June, but it's happening, realistically, it would have happened in, March? And they'd only raced up until what would have been the first race of, I think, March there with Atlanta. So I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference in the grand scheme of things. And number 2, as far as who I had slated to get that ride, I thought Jamie McMurray was going to get it. I knew it wasn't going to be Ross Chastain.
That's not a bad pick, Matt, because even Jamie McMurray, maybe not as successful as some of those other guys, Kenseth, Carl Edwards, are winning races consistently, but McMurray has won big races.
Yeah.
So not a bad pick. I mean, he was in the booth and watching NASCAR develop. So. And
the way I look at it is, I knew it wasn't going to be Chastain because Chastain was committed to the college racing Xfinity program. He has sponsors. It would cost too much money to pull him out of that ride, realistically.
What if? Because we heard the rumor, and Junior did say it would have been the best move. I don't think Chip Ganassi knew how much Dale Earnhardt Jr. wanted to race versus his family, not his family, but his race, not race mentality. If Junior had gotten that ride for 8 to 10 races, how good those sponsors would have been despite winning or not winning.
The sponsors would have loved it, but I don't think the results would have been there. And that's not
I agree.
That's not a knock against Dale Jr. because he does good in that Xfinity car. But look at his last 2 seasons in Cup, and I'll give you the concussion. But he had peaked. And I'm saying that as a Junior fan. I own like 3 Dale Jr. autographed cars and more Dale Jr. merchandise than I can count. But, I mean, he had peaked. By 2016, I think something happened and he was not mentally done, but just done with it. And I think Junior being in that car, he wouldn't compete for wins. He'd compete for top 10s on a good day, but that's about it.
Yep. The old what if scenario,
yeah.
right?
The sponsors would love it. The sponsors would love it.
We got Kenseth, hopefully a number change. I'm looking for a number change to the 40 machine. If it sticks with the 42, it's fine, but maybe a number change out there. Mr. Holland says Ganassi doesn't have championship equipment. At least they got Hendrick motors. Maybe not their A motors, B motors, sure, but getting into the later half of this race at Loose Lugnuts Racing, Justin Michaels still leading. Scott Bell 7/10 behind.
Not to turn this into basically a podcast about Ganassi, but I got to contest there about not having championship equipment, and the only reason I say that, look at, and I'm going to say his name, it's not like Beetlejuice, but look at Kyle Larson. The last few years he's been racing, he has come closer and closer and closer to winning a championship in that Ganassi car than anyone has previously. I think Ganassi, with the right driver, can put a championship caliber run. Look at Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch has done wonders in that one car. So
Kurt Busch is an anomaly.
Yeah.
He is an anomaly.
But
a lot of guys can't.
Larson
do
was.
Yeah, but look at Kurt Busch's history. He's switched teams so many times. Oh, someone to the infield. That'd be the 977 of Captain Miller. Good recovery on him. Justin Michaels still leads the race. Scott Bell, Josh Coley third. 41st to third. Good way of avoiding the wrecks, but Josh Coley, one of those guys involved in early wreck, Maddie.
Yeah, without a doubt, but he's keeping it running and keeping it running real well. Got it wound up nice and well. Third place run. But
yeah, Mr. Klein out there saying I'm a Junior fan, even with his comment. If you're living in Alabama and you're not a Junior fan,
you might want to move.
Yeah, Talladega, boy, Talladega season coming around. You're not a Junior fan. God, I remember when they threw stuff at Jeff Gordon for winning the race. 10 laps to go, Matt, here at Charlotte, with a little bit of a different feel for this race for sure. We've talked around, obviously, single file racing for the most part. A lot of guys outside of Michael Jinks, who is 13th, the only guy one lap down, still racing around here tonight.
Yep. I want to say one last thing about this whole Ganassi thing. I will say, I think Matt Kenseth is a good pick for that car for the time being. I mean, he's basically turned into the new Mark Martin. He'll take any kind of ride, you know.
Maybe Mark comes out of retirement.
Then we have two Mark Martins, and then that's going to turn into that whole paradox of what happens if you meet your grandfather situation. And then the world's going to explode. But I don't think Matt Kenseth is the kind of driver that can put that car to being in championship again, because I don't know if he can compete for wins anymore. Good finishes, but I don't know about wins. He didn't do that good in that number 6 Roush car, and Newman's done a little bit better.
It's definitely one of the better sponsorship moves Chip Ganassi can make.
Oh, no doubt. For sponsors will eat it up because he's an established driver.
He's got to put tires on those cars. He's got to pay for Hendrick motors, and so sponsorship money is more important for those, B teams. I'm not say Chip Ganassi is a B team. They can definitely win races, but it's not Hendrick and it's not Joe Gibbs.
Yeah, but they're still a championship capable team, and as much as I think people in the chat might disagree on that with me, but I stand by my statement with that.
Yeah, well, here's the interesting factor. Almost about 6 laps to go here at the line, Matt, and Justin Michael is for the first time reeling in some lap traffic.
Yeah, this might make things interesting. He's having to get by that 08, and then Kevin Winter and Chadwick as well.
Yep, Kevin Winter, one of those guys I shouldn't have counted out. He is 9th place on the field. This is a big old group here. There goes Chadwick, a lap down. They're not going to be too disparaged. They're still in the top 10 after hanging through those heavy cautions early on tonight.
These are going to be really interesting post-race interviews.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the race and how they operated at least one green flag pit stop. I mean, I would love at least 25 cars on the lead lap at that point, but that's not the way tonight equaled out. Obviously, racing situations and racers themselves obligated the race to a different scenario.
All right, so the million-dollar question is, what do you think happens in these final 5 laps?
Well, chat will decide for themselves, but I have to agree that they'll say Justin Michael will probably end up with a win with a 2-second lead. Scott Bell, Josh Coley falling further back. Justin Michael, when he turns it on, he turns it on. He entered the Summer Series in all divisions winless. He was struggling on Saturdays, finishing top 5 on Sundays and top 5 on Thursdays. Finally finding the win a couple weeks ago, and boy, he cannot let go of the win at all.
Yeah, without a doubt. 2 more laps to go, this time by.
Ron saying Danica in the 42 over Kenseth. I want to know your favorite driver, Ron, for sure. But Danica definitely bring the sponsors along herself, despite wrecking every week.
I gotta disagree with that only for the one reason, because she could no longer bring the sponsors to Stuart Haas Racing, which is why she was out the door at that team.
Sure, I would agree. She even had 2 sponsors at one point, by the way, Matt.
Yeah. If she could still bring sponsors, she would still be in a race car.
I agree. She could wreck every race car as long as that sponsor money equaled $250,000.
Pretty much. And here's the problem: there are now women in racing that are actually good. Haley Deegan.
Mm-hmm.
Not to jump on that bandwagon and sound like, you know.
Final lap, Matt.
Here we go. I will say, though, we've had a pretty long green flag run, maybe because of the fact that, you know, everyone else got wrecked out of the race. We had 13 cars left, but hey, green flag run's a green flag run. I'll take it if I can get it.
Yeah, sometimes the race is what it is, and Justin Michael is probably going to win this race unless I ever keep turning it around, but
that would be really interesting.
Yeah, no, Justin Michael wins this race.
Not
3
a shot.
seconds behind Scott Bell.
70 laps led for the man, the myth, and he might even be a legend. Some call him Justin Michael.
Yep, he's developing that legend.
Well, he just got to keep doing what he's doing, and he'll get it all figured out nice and good.
I can't wait to see the competitors run against Justin Michael when we get to the Winter Series, Matt. I'll get these lined up for an interview if you'll get that remaining field.
Yeah, we'll pull Justin Michael up right about now. We had the finishing order scroll across the top of your screen just now. Justin Michael, have you got a copy on us?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you know, war of attrition, whatever you want to call it, but tell us about the win.
Yeah, I don't know. That first half, I just don't know what to say. But sorry, somebody was talking in my ear. Yeah, I don't know what happened the first half of that race, but second half was really good. But I know there was not a lot of cars left, which kind of sucks. But you know, we had a good long run car. I think Scott had something for us there, but I guess something happened to him. I just looked up at the relative, and he was all of a sudden back a bunch. So I don't know. But it was a good race. Hopefully everybody enjoyed watching it.
All right, well, any sponsors you want to mention?
Yeah, just everybody out there watching. I got a couple friends from work watching, Colin, Jeff, and I don't know who else. That's the only people I see in chat. But just everybody out there watching. You guys always call a good race, and you know, John puts on a great leg as always.
All right,
Darren's out there watching too. Sorry, I see his text just now. I didn't know he was watching.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us, man. Great job on the finish.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, next up on the interview block, it should be Jeff Wood with Scott Bell. If Bell is in here. He is not.
Matt switching channels on here, but we got a couple guys that haven't connected to TeamSpeak, Matt. Scott Bell, Josh Coley, second, third place there. Just a quick shout out to them, man.
Yeah, great run for Josh Cully. Like you said, we've seen him improve a lot here this season, and hey, knocking on that win soon. And I tell you what, Scott Bell, maybe not the win, but what did I tell you? I said he'd be a competitor, and here we are, end of 100 laps, second place finish, first ever race. That'll do it for us here tonight on ASN. We hope everyone enjoyed tonight's broadcast, and we'll see you all in the next one as Justin Michael burns it down from Concord, North Carolina.